For allowing me to come to your community. I visited with a number of people today, and it's very obvious to me that we have some very strong feelings on both sides of this issue. And I want you to understand very clearly from the beginning, I'm not here to sell anybody one way or the other. What I've been asked to do is to come and to talk to you about the experience we went through in our community, the pros, the cons, the issues that oftentimes you don't think about until after the fact, and then to address those kind of issues. And according to the schedule, I was supposed to start taking questions about 2 minutes ago, and I'm supposed to be through.
We're in good shape.
Okay. So I'll try to go through briefly so that we do have some time for questions. Ms. Morgan is with me. She and I have worked together for probably close to 30 years at various locations. She was my assistant superintendent in Tripp County when we went through the consolidation. And after she retired in Georgia and I was superintendent at Auburn, I asked her if she'd like to work 10 more years. Please come on down. And she did. And she retired this past summer and has chastised me ever since about how wonderful retirement is. This is my 43rd year as an educator, 33 years as a superintendent, and I will join her very shortly in the retirement realm. Every community is different and unique, and I think as individuals who live in this community, you've got to make a choice on really what you think is best for the children that live in this community. Oftentimes, we think we know what's going on, only to be surprised by some things that we did not realize was going on. As a young man who was, I had served as a teacher and a coach early in my career. I served as an elementary principal. I served as a high school principal for 3 years. And at the ripe old age of 31, I became superintendent of a city school district in Georgia. Unique in that we were the only county in the state of Georgia that had 4 public school systems located in one county. And it was a truly unique school district. I loved it. I had 9 board members. They got paid $0. Every decision they made was about children. It was a true community school. 95% free and reduced lunch. Most of our children walked to school every day. We had 1 school bus. Oh, how nice. I learned later how fortunate I really was. But you know, as time went on and our students began to finish their careers, I noticed we had a very small percentage of our children who were going to school, to college, going on. Very few got scholarship opportunities. I work in a school district now where $7 million is a typical year. And I go back and think about those days and the opportunities those children were missing. So as time went by, it became very obvious to me. Our city council was never going to provide the funding to provide quality education to our children for those who are going to college, the IB programs, the International Baccalaureate, the advanced placement courses, the courses we needed to get prepared for work. They just were not going to do it. So I started taking trips to Atlanta to visit with the State Department to say, you know, what can we do in our community? How can I get a hold of funding to make things better for these children? So finally, on one of my trips to Atlanta, I sat down with Mr. Clover. Several of you in this room know Frank. And they looked at me and they said, well, Dr. Jenkins, we'll tell you what we'll do. If you will consolidate your high school with Tripp County, then what we will do is we will build you a brand new high school. And I thought, I knew the county was wanting a new high school. They did not have the funds to build it. We sat down and they spread out for me the curriculum there. It quadrupled what we could offer to our children. So I went back home as I went by, I stopped at the Troup County School Superintendent's office, and I said, I just left Atlanta, and here's what they told me they'll do. He said, I don't believe that. I got my card, and he sort of dismissed me. I went on back to my school district. The next morning, he called me, and he said, you know, I've talked to the people at the State Department, and there's a lot of truth to that. He said, they told me they will build us a new high school. So I live in a community with a registered voter list of about 50% African American, 50% white. So I began to talk to parents to see what they really wanted to do. They wanted the courses, but they didn't want to give up their high school and so forth. We met in the basement of homes. We had a lot of conversations. It was very obvious. We had a tough choice to make. Make a long story short, because we're running out of time. The day the vote was taken in 1984, the vote was 74% yes, 26%, 26% no was on the ballot, which meant we were going to get a new high school and our children were going to get on a bus and ride 12 miles to that school. They didn't walk into school. You're talking about a change in the community. Also, people couldn't understand why I didn't fight against that taking place, because it meant I lost my job. I was the superintendent. I'm the one that could lose the job. The county turned around and said to me, we will offer you a job as assistant superintendent if you do that. In the meantime, Floyd County Schools, which was up in Rome, Georgia, came and approached me and offered me a job as superintendent of their school district, and I went to Floyd County. Much to my dismay, when the consolidation took place, they did not hire everyone from the West Point City Schools that was employed in West Point into the school district. So we had legislation introduced that says anytime the school districts in this state consolidate, the receiving system by law must treat the employees from the sending system exactly like the employees in their present system. You can do no difference between the two. So when I then later was offered an opportunity to come back to Troup County as superintendent, little did I know that consolidation was an issue again. I came in January 1 of 1992. At that particular point in time, I reported to work on January 1. About 2 months later, all of a sudden I pick up the paper one day and there's a discussion in there between the mayor of the city of LaGrange, the city school superintendent, about the need to have consolidation. Well, when I went back and started checking a little bit, come to find out that had been talked about behind the scenes a little bit, but the county board had always said to the city, we're not coming to any meeting, we're not having any discussion, we don't want to have anything to do with it, you keep what you got, we keep what we got, and we'll all be happy. Well, as time had gone by, what had begun to transpire, West Point Lake had been built. You were having white flight out of the city out to the suburbs on the lake. The school districts had arrived at a point that the Troup County School District was probably 75 to 80% white. The LaGrange City District had about 70% African American, which at that particular point in time is, I think, when the city leadership made the decision that they needed to look at consolidation. County had taken a stand that they were not interested at all. So the city realized that what they were going to have to do is, in order to force that under Georgia law, was they were going to have to vote to revoke their own charter. The mayor was in favor of it. The city superintendent was in favor of it. The city school board was in favor of it, and the power structure of the city was in favor of it. As superintendent, I'm sitting there in the county and I'm confident this is not going to happen. when the previous fall had completed, LaGrange High School was undefeated, ranked #1 in the nation. When the football season was over, I said, no way will this pass. Not going to happen. The night the votes were counted, 53% yes, 47% no. County residents were not allowed to vote. The next morning at 8:15, my phone rang, and the lady says, "My name is Sally Ann Doherty. I am an attorney with the Justice Department in Washington, D.C. As of this morning, you have racially identifiable schools. You have 12 months in which to racially balance all of your schools to within 5% of the overall population of the county." I sort of sat back in my chair, and I thought, how in the world are we going to do this? And this cannot be done in 12 months. So we get our school board attorney and we begin negotiating back and forth with the Justice Department on those kinds of issues. Immediately we set up a lot of different committees to begin to work. I started meeting with the city school superintendent on a regular basis. The vote was taken. It was done. It was over. We didn't have a choice at that point. This was something that was going to take place. The county board in Georgia has the authority to make the decision as to when they will receive the city. At that point in time, we said to the Justice Department, we can't meet what you're asking us to do. It is physically impossible. I go back and share with you. Remember I told you there were 4 school systems. In the northern part of the county was the school district that was called Hogansville City Schools. The night that we voted in West Point in 1984, they held a vote at that time themselves. They voted no. Where in West Point, they voted yes. The no voters, as soon as the election was over, started recall petitions and recalled every board member that had supported it. When the new board was seated at the first meeting, the board fired the superintendent because he had supported it. So now we go forward to 1990. They had 2 votes in the meantime and voted no. Now that LaGrange had voted to come in as a part of Troup County, they held another vote and voted yes to come in. So there's another opportunity for us to accept and to try to make this work.